When is Skynet?
I don't know.
Does Charlie know?
Always 9 p.m. Saturday on 146.88. Duh.
This is the W5FC repeater, PL110.9.
is a test. KF5JHA.
Afterglow Movie Net, Saturday, 10:30 p.m., W5FC.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin the 9 p.m. Skynet? This is KF5PDS. My name is Billye, and I'll be your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the # sign, break, and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control. That would be me. And stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmissions. This weekly net operates on 146.880 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio-video links are available online. Go to www.w5fc.org right now for the complete list, and remember to tell others about this popular net. You can now check in to the net electronically by going to the club website, w5fc.org, look for tonight's announcement, and click on the hot link to check in. We'll acknowledge you on the air, and don't worry, if you want to check in via voice, we'll continue to do that too over air and on Echolink. All amateur operators are welcome. You need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. The net is 90 minutes long and is structured in several parts. General announcements, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope, National Space Society events, recent astronomical discoveries, discussion topic of the evening, Was Up, space exploration and space history, constellation of the week, space launches of the week, visible satellite passages over the next couple of days, astronomical Q&A, and our 73 round. All amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. We currently have the following people checked in via w5fc.org. We have KE5ICX, Tom, in Corpus Christi on the All-Star link. K5MCD, Cody in Dallas, over-air radio. KF5JHA, Chaz, no Bob the Cat tonight, in beautiful downtown Lockburn, Ohio, online on Echolink. AA5AH, Robert, in Richardson, over-air radio. NV5F, Virginia, Fort Worth, over-air radio. N5 Oscar Foxtrot, Clay, in Mesquite, online on YouTube. And N5BB Bill, in Irving, over-air radio. Now let's start with voice check-ins, starting with short-time check-ins. If you're a short time to this evening's net, please come now with your call sign name and where you're transmitting from this evening. Okay, not hearing any short-time check-ins, so let's move on to general check-ins. So same thing for general. Please state your call sign name and where you're transmitting from this evening.
This is Kilo Golf 5 Uniform Foxtrot Romeo Jacob in Farmers Branch.
This is Juliet Delta Whiskey, John and Coppell.
This is Kilo Echo 5 Echo November Eric in Plano.
This is Whiskey 5 Golf Uniform Sierra Gus, far, far northeast Dallas.
Kilo Foxtrot 5 Zulu Bravo Lima, Bill, Farmers Branch.
This is Whiskey Bravo 4 Mike Foxtrot India WB4MFI Ted Dallas Low Power.
All right, that was a very healthy round of check-ins. Let me go ahead and get these folks checked in. So the net recognizes Kilo Golf 5, Uniform Foxtrot Romeo, Jacob in Farmers Branch, KF5 JDW, John in Coppell, KE5 Echo November, Eric in Plano, W5 GUS, Gus in far, far northeast Dallas, KF5 ZBL, Bill in Farmers Branch, and WB4 MFI, Ted Dallas Low Power. And I noticed there is a check-in over on the sheet, AI5SR, Swan in Carrollton over air radio. Do we have any more general check-ins? If so, please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from. I'm not hearing any more general check-ins, so now we'll move over to Echolink. I'll give you some extra time. If there's anyone on Echolink that has not checked in yet, you may do so. If you don't have a microphone, you're welcome to check. I will watch the chat. Otherwise, I can just read your name off the list. So Echolink check-ins at this time. Call sign name, where you're transmitting from. Okay, not hearing anything or seeing anything on the chat, but I do recognize some folks that have not yet checked in. AF0 Delta Bravo, Daniel, and KD5LQD, Jimmy. Everyone else on Echolink has already checked in. So let me open it up for an open round check-in, any mode. Anyone that has not checked in yet may come now at this time. Call sign name where you're transmitting from, any mode. Okay, not hearing any, so we've got everybody checked in so far. Welcome to Skynet, everybody. Let's get started with general announcements. So do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? These can be ham, astronomical, space, or general interest to licensed hams. If you have an announcement, please come now with your call sign. Not hearing any, so I'll go ahead with some announcements. The AMSAT Radio Amateur Satellite Group has 3 nets available to Dallas residents. On Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central Time, you can check into the National AMSAT Net. Learn all about amateur satellites and how you can use them in amateur radio. The National AMSAT Net will bring the most up-to-date information on amateur satellites currently in use or new ones coming online. You will need Echolink installed and you registered. You can find the net under Groups and AMSAT. Also, a live audio link is available on their website at www.amsatnet.com. This net originates in Houston, Texas. 2 local nets are available in Dallas. Both of these nets encourage active check-ins. You can ask questions of the net control as well as others checked in. AMSATnet East, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on this repeater, 146.880 MHz, with a PL tone of 110.9. Tuesdays, Tom N5 HYP is the net control. All are welcome to check in. The first Tuesday of the month is the DARC Club Night, so there's no AMSAT East on that night. Dallas AMSATnet West is every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater, 147.140 MHz, with a PL tone of 110.9 and a positive offset. The DARC hosts a number of nets on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Check the W5FC.org website. This coming Monday will be 5th week Surprise Net. This week is the Surprise Net. If we told you what it was, it wouldn't be a surprise. On-air participation is encouraged. Sometimes we even offer a real prize. Otherwise, show your fellow hams your technical, social, and pop culture knowledge and creativity. Tony NT5TM is net control. Saturdays are the Night of Nets, where we keep the airwaves buzzing until midnight. Here's the lineup. TechNet from 7 to 8 p.m. Q&A on all things ham radio related. There's also a swap meet, Rookie's Corner, news and information, and ham radio events and contests, alternating net control each week. Skynet from 9 to 10:30 p.m. Astronomy, space, and space exploration are the topics. Also, news and information, satellite passes, and the constellation of the week. Join this popular net about ham's second most favorite hobby, astronomy, alternating net controls. And there's the Afterglow Movie Net from 10:30 to midnight. Will it be a hit or the dreaded miss? Thumbs up or thumbs down? You make the call. First and third Sundays is the Dallas Amateur Radio Club meeting on the air. What's going on in your ham world? Tell us. Also learn about the club that maintains this popular repeater, the Dallas Amateur Radio Club. Club news and information, events, activities, including club meetings, lecture and lab, public service events, contests, and just general discussion. Everyone can check into this net. And daily is the ARRLNet National Traffic System Training Net every night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Learn how message traffic is handled on this formal training net. Newbies are welcome to check in as this is a training net. The NTS also conducts an evening net on the Irving Whiskey Alpha 5 Charlie Kilo Foxtrot repeater 146.72 megahertz at 9:30 p.m. All are welcome to check in on any or all of these nets. And at this time, we'll give more information about tonight's Afterglow. So at this time, I'm going to turn the net over to Tom, KE5ICX, if you will give us tonight's Afterglow info from KF5PDS.
Work a bit. After 2 million, which gave his skin a nice healthy glow. Of course, he was also wearing his fashionable hazmat suit, just in case. He always told himself. Today was his annual appraisal, and while everyone else just telecommuted, he arrived and headed up to the conference room, passing along dead house plants no longer tended by many. He produced. LX 2048 from the W5FC website if you want to see what the movie is all about.
I'm sorry, Tom, you were cutting in and out a lot on Echolink. Did you finish transmission? I didn't pick up your call sign.
Yes, we're all done. KE5ICX.
Great. Thank you, Tom. You can keep up with all the DARC events, nets, and activities by going to the club website, w5fc.org. We currently have the following people checked in via w5fc.org. And I don't see any new check-ins. We've got everybody over there checked in. And just as a reminder, you can go to the website, click on the hot link, and check into the net. I'll now go ahead and take additional voice check-ins. So if you have joined the net and you have not yet checked in this evening, please come now with your call sign, name, and where you're transmitting from this evening.
Kilo Juliet 5, India Golf Charlie, Lyle in South Garland.
Great. The net recognizes Kilo Juliet 5, India Golf Charlie, Lyle in South Garland. Are there any other check-ins for this evening's net at this time? Okay, not hearing any, so we'll move on to our next segment, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope. At this time, I'll turn the net over to Chaz, KF5JHA. The net is yours from KF5PDS.
Thank you, Billy. I hope I'm transmitting fine over the radio frequency. It looks like I'm doing okay over Echolink. On January 23rd, 2026, is the next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting. The meeting is going to be held at 7:30 p.m. in person at the University of Texas at Dallas, and also there's a Zoom component. Featured speaker is going to be Dr. Philip Anderson from UTV. His topic is going to be on space weather. Now, the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas hosts Saturday night public observing sessions in the area. Skynet was picked to be on Saturday nights, so there could be an opportunity for live reports from the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas public observing sessions. Tonight is the fourth Saturday of the month. There are no scheduled stargazing sessions on the fourth Saturday. So, you can check the TASS website at texasastro.org for up-to-date information and details about meetings and public observing sessions. This is KF5JHA, back to our net control.
Thank you, Chaz. This is KF5PDS, Billye, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next up is National Space Society events and activities. So at this time, I'll turn the net over to Bill, N5BB. The net is yours from KF5PDS.
Chapter. My email address is SPACE.net, S-P-A-C-E. It's a nonprofit group based in the U.S. which is interested in the exploration and development of space and the creation of a spacefaring civilization. Our local chapter website is ntx.nss.org. Our group also has an active Facebook page. Just type National Space Society of North Texas into the search box. Our last North Texas chapter meeting was a holiday party at the N5BB house on Sunday, December the 14th. On the last Friday evening of each month at 6 to 8 p.m., the National Space Society North Texas chapter sponsors a social event called Space Rendezvous at Cheddar's Restaurant, 700 West Highway 635 in Irving. You do not need to be a member of any organization to attend. The December Space Rendezvous was held 11 attendees. Member of the North Texas chapter of the National Space Society. We are very saddened to hear of her attend her services January the 3rd here in the net. The North of the National Society meets 8 p.m. afternoon of the month. Our next chapter meeting, barbecue, Sunday afternoon, January. If you have any questions about the National Space Society, please contact Bill, N5BB, at his QRZ listed email address or at space@byram.net. That's all I got, Billy. This is N5BB back to net. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Bill. Up next is more information on Silent Key Brenda McGee WB50ZL Memorial. So at this time, I will turn the net over to Tom, KE5ICX. The net is yours from KF5PDS.
Yeah, thank you, Billye. As Bill had hinted on, he was cutting in and out a little bit, but let me give you the information. As most of you know, Brenda McGee, WB50ZL, who has been a long-time original contributor and NCS to Skynet, became a silent key on December 7th. The celebration of her life will be conducted at 2 p.m. January 3rd at the Sparkman Hillcrest Funeral Home, located at 7405 West Northwest Highway at 2 p.m., and all are welcome to attend. Brenda was a DARC board member, participated in all our events, including the lecture lab, life walk, field day, moon day, and the Dallas Turkey Trot, just to name a few. She was always a positive, enthusiastic force for DARC and was so supportive of all things geeky, which included aviation, amateur radio, science fiction conventions and activities, cosplay, you name it, she was doing it and had a huge collection of friends. So I suspect this event will be well attended. If you cannot make it at that time, I'm planning on a get-together on Saturday evening where we can talk about Brenda and socially commune, something normally impossible to do on Saturday nights. So I'm proposing a 7 p.m. get-together at El Phoenix, located at 6811 West Northwest Highway. That's in the Northwest Plaza Shopping Center. 7 p.m. You can check the W5FC.org website for any updates, but that's pretty much what we're going to do. So I will be in town. I'm going to travel for the event on Saturday, and I hope to see all of you. So if you're part of, anything having to do with DARC and Skynet and, of course, the Afterglow Movie Net, by all means, we'd love to have you come by, and we can talk about Brenda and DARC. We don't get together very often as with a IQSO, so this should be a lot of fun, and it's been a long time. It's been about 3 years since we've done anything even close to this. So needless to say, we'll not be having a Skynet or Afterglow that evening on the air, but certainly come by and spend some time with us on a rare Saturday night off. Just a reminder, the memorial service will be at 2 p.m. Saturday, January 3rd at the Sparkman Hillcrest Funeral Home. That's it from me. This is KE5ICX.
Great. Thank you very much, Tom. This is KF5PDS, Billye, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next up is discussion topic of the evening. So for tonight's topic, I've chosen 6 space flights ahead in 2026. This was a usatoday.com article posted by Eric Legata on December 22nd of this year. So if you thought 2025 was an exciting year for spaceflight and cosmic discovery, just wait until 2026. The past year was one filled with monumental human missions to orbit, headline-grabbing experimental rocket launches, groundbreaking robotic missions to the moon, and plenty of other stunning astral milestones. Could the best be yet to come? In the year ahead, NASA's first astronaut moon mission since the 1970s and SpaceX's continued development of the world's largest rocket are just the tip of the iceberg in what could end up being a defining time for human spaceflight. Number 1, NASA's first human moon mission in more than 50 years. 4 astronauts are on the verge of, and before I get started, just as a reminder, if you go over to YouTube, Tom does a great slideshow discussion topic of the evening. He's got it's been going since the beginning of the net, but I want to remind folks to tune in, if you haven't already, into YouTube, the DARC Skynet channel. You can find tonight's live feed going on right now. So again, number one, NASA's first human moon mission in more than 50 years. 4 astronauts are on the verge of becoming the first humans to venture near the moon in more than half a century since NASA's iconic Apollo era came to an end. As of February, the crew, NASA astronauts Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and the Canadian Space Agency's Jeremy Hansen, will board the U.S. Space Agency's Orion capsule atop NASA's Space Launch System rocket for a 10-day trip circumnavigating the moon under the Artemis program. The mission, known as Artemis II, will lay the groundwork for a crewed moon landing in the years ahead during Artemis III, which itself will help establish a permanent human lunar presence ahead of the first voyages to Mars. Number 2, Elon Musk's SpaceX to launch new version of Starship mega rocket. SpaceX, which launched its Starship rocket 5 times in 2025, is set to debut a new design of the massive spacecraft in 2026. Known as Version 3 or V3, the next Starship could be the first iteration to reach orbit and demonstrate the ability to refuel mid-flight, a necessary capability to reach distant destinations. SpaceX, which billionaire Elon Musk heads as CEO, has also announced it's working on a simplified plan for the world's largest rocket to land astronauts on the moon. NASA had, in 2021, awarded a contract to SpaceX to develop a configuration of Starship that would meet astronauts in lunar orbit and ferry them to the surface. Musk also has dreams of Starship being the vehicle to help colonize Mars. Number 3, more astronauts headed to the International Space Station. More astronauts are due to head to the International Space Station as early as February 15th as part of NASA's Commercial Crew Program with SpaceX. The 4 spacefarers, which will include 2 yet announced NASA astronauts, are part of a SpaceX mission known as Crew 12. When they reach the orbital outpost, they will ultimately replace the contingent of Crew 11 astronauts and remain at the ISS for about 6 months, conducting scientific research and performing routine station maintenance. Number 4, Boeing Starliner to fly again, but with no crew this time. Boeing's infamous Starliner spacecraft could launch again in 2026, but this time with no humans on board. NASA announced that it is working with Boeing toward an uncrewed launch of the Starliner capsule as early as April. And once again, the capsule is due to head to the International Space Station. The mission would be the first for Boeing's Starliner spacecraft since its failed maiden human test flight that got off the ground in June 2024, carrying NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams. The Starliner was meant to return to Earth from the ISS a few days after docking, before a slew of technical issues forced NASA to render the vehicle unsafe. Instead, Williams and Wilmore returned to Earth in March 2025 on a SpaceX Dragon capsule that reached the orbital outpost in September of 2024 with 2 other spacefarers. Number 5, NASA plans series of robotic moon landings. In 2025, 2 uncrewed lunar landers manufactured by American companies made it to the moon's surface within just days of one another. First, the Blue Ghost lander, manufactured by Texas spaceflight company Firefly Aerospace, landed March 2nd on the moon's Earth-facing side. It was followed 4 days later by Houston-based Intuitive Machines' Athena lander, which unfortunately tipped on its side, hindering much of its mission. But in 2026, NASA has even more robotic lunar landing missions under contract with not only Firefly and Intuitive Machines, but Blue Origin and Pittsburgh-based aerospace company Astrobotic, which was behind a failed moon mission in 2024. And the last for this article, number 6, what's next for Jeff Bezos' Amazon Blue Origin after a big year in space? It's been a big year in space for billionaire Jeff Bezos. His spaceflight company Blue Origin managed to launch its towering New Glenn rocket on 2 missions from Florida, including the most recent on November 13th that helped propel twin NASA orbiters to Mars. Meanwhile, in Texas, Blue Origin's smaller suborbital New Shepard rocket got off the ground on 7 space flights, transporting groups of passengers to the edge of space, including famously an all-woman crew in April featuring pop musician Katy Perry and broadcast journalist Gayle King. Amazon, which Bezos also founded, even got its own space-based program going. Initially called Project Kuiper, the venture known as Amazon LEO has deployed 180 of 3,000 broadband internet beaming satellites planned for its first constellation that could challenge SpaceX's Starlink. What's coming up in 2026? Expect more New Shepard launches and perhaps the debut of an even bigger New Glenn as Blue Origin reportedly seeks certification for national security missions. So there you have it, folks, some things to look forward to in 2026. Does anyone have any questions or comments for tonight's presentation? If so, please come now with your call sign. Okay, not hearing any, so we'll move on to the next segment, which is What's Up. So at this time, I will turn the net back over to Chaz, KF5JHA. The net is yours from KF5PDS.
Thank you, Billy. Good evening, everyone. Once again, this is KF5JHA Chaz. We call this segment of Skynet What's Up because it's all about what's going on or what has gone on astronomically over the last couple of weeks and what will take place over the next couple of weeks and beyond. That was slide number 2 in my slide deck. And again, on YouTube, you can get the video version of this. Just go to w5fc.org and click on the YouTube link, and you can get to Skynet that way. Slide number 3. We've talked about the predicted nova of star T Corona Borealis, which may erupt at any time. It is currently at a brightness of around 10th magnitude, which is much too faint to be able to see with just your 2 eyes. T Corona Borealis was supposed to go nova more than a year ago. One recent prediction was for it to go nova on November the 10th of this year. Well, that didn't happen. So another prediction is on June the 25th of 2026. Well, we'll know when it happens. But when it does go, T Corona Borealis would become as bright as the North Star, which is 2nd magnitude. Now, I can see the North Star with just my 2 eyes from my very light polluted location in Mesquite, Texas. Okay, slide number 4. This image of the sun was taken on December the 10th from the website spaceweather.com. The large sunspot complexes on the sun are so large at times that you could use your solar eclipse glasses to see them. The sun is near its 11-year solar maximum. We are not sure when the solar maximum will occur until after it happens. I presented information on the solar cycle just a couple of weeks ago on Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 5. Tonight, December the 27th, is when there is a first quarter phase of the moon. On January the 1st, the moon is at perigee, which is the moon's orbit that is closest to the Earth at a distance of 360,348 kilometers. January the 3rd is the full moon. Third quarter moon is on the day of January the 10th. On January the 13th, the moon is at apogee, which is a point in the moon's orbit that is furthest from the Earth at a distance of 405,438 kilometers. January the 18th is new moon. Slide Master, slide number 6, please. On December the 31st, the Moon, Uranus, and the Pleiades star cluster are in conjunction in the early morning sky. A pair of binoculars or telescope will be required to observe the planet Uranus. Slide Master, slide number 7. January the 3rd, the Moon and Jupiter and the bright star Pollux is in the northeastern evening sky in a conjunction. Slide Master, slide number 8. The quadrantid meteor shower on the night of January the 3rd and 4th will have its maximum. It should have as few as just maybe as 120 meters per hour, but it could be as many as much more than that. Most of the time you'll see most of the meteors just the hour before dawn, because that's the side of the Earth that's running into the debris left behind by a comet or asteroid. To get detailed information about how to observe meteors and meteor showers, you can visit the International Meteor Organization at imo.net or the American Meteor Society at amsmeteors.org. Slide Master, slide number 9. On January the 6th, the Moon and Regulus are in conjunction in the early morning sky. On Slide Master, slide number 10. January the 10th is the next conjunction to look for with the Moon and Spica in the morning sky. Slide Master, slide number 11. Get up early on the morning of January the 14th and face toward the southeast to observe the conjunction of the Moon and the bright star Antares. Slide Master, slide number 12. Looking in the southwestern sky in the evening of January 22nd, you can observe the conjunction of the Moon, Saturn, and Neptune. Now you'll need at least a telescope to observe Neptune. You can't see with your 2 eyes nor binoculars. You'll need a telescope. And this is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 13. Do any of you out there in radio have a question or need a fill on any information? Or maybe you just have a general astronomy question. Come down with your call sign if you have a question or need a fill. Okay, hearing nothing. Slide number 14. So as the moon wanes in a week, so do these words for this segment of Skynet. Stay safe, keep well, pray for our world. It's the only one where humans live right now. Until next time, well, actually, I'll be doing another segment on Skynet in a few minutes. Keep looking up so you know what's up. This is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet, transmitting on W5FC repeater at 146.88 megahertz. Back to our net control. It's all up to you, Billy.
Awesome. Thank you, Chaz. This is KF5PDS Billye, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next up is space exploration and space history. So at this time, I will turn the net over to W5GUS Gus from KF5PDS. The net is yours.
Okay, thank you, Billy. W5GUS here with Space Exploration News. And we'll start with the NASA's Spherex Space Telescope completed its initial infrared map of the entire sky, capturing data in 102 different colors. This significant achievement will aid scientists in studying the universe's early stages, galaxy evolution, and the distribution of crucial organic molecules in the Milky Way. The comprehensive data set is expected to provide insights into cosmic origins and the potential for life. And the interstellar comet 31 Atlas made its nearest approach to Earth, passing within approximately 168 million miles of Earth. This event marked only the third instance of an identified interstellar object traversing our solar system. Scientists are analyzing data from its flyby to understand the composition and origin of objects from beyond our solar system. All right, and December 18th, Parker Solar Probes was a 26 solar flyby. NASA's Parker Solar Probe successfully completed its 26th closest approach to the Sun between December 8th and December 18th, 2025. The probe collected critical data from within the Sun's outer atmosphere, the corona. This mission continues to provide groundbreaking insights into solar wind origins, coronal heating, and space weather phenomenon, helping scientists better understand our very own star. All right, now on to space-related birthdays, starting with Millie Hughes Fulford, December 21st, 1945. She was the first woman to fly as a NASA payload specialist. Her single mission, STS-40, Space Lab Life Sciences, aboard the Space Shuttle Columbia in June 1991, was the first Space Lab mission dedicated to biomedical studies. All right, December 21st, 1937, Bruce McCandless, STS-41 and STS-31. He's most famous for performing the first untethered spacewalk in 1984 during Space Shuttle Challenger's B-41 mission. Using the Manned Maneuvering Unit, he also flew on STS-31, which successfully deployed the Hubble Space Telescope in 1990. December 22nd, 1961, Yuri Malenchenko was born. Soyuz TM-19, STS-106, Soyuz TMA-2, Soyuz TMA-11, Soyuz TMA-05, and Soyuz TMA-19M. And he is notable for being the first person to marry in space during Expedition number 7 in 2003. He has accumulated over 827 days in orbit, placing him among the top cosmonauts for career time in space. Okay, December 23rd, 1937, Carol Bobko, STS-6, STS-51, STS-51J. He served as pilot for the maiden flight of the Space Shuttle Challenger, which was STS-6, and commanded two other Space Shuttle missions, STS-51 Delta and STS-51 Juliet, which included deploying communications satellites and a classified Department of Defense mission. Okay, and December 24th, 1969, Oleg Skirpochka, Soyuz TMA-01, Soyuz TMA-20, Soyuz MS-15. He has participated in 3 space flights, serving as a flight engineer and commander on various expeditions to the International Space Station. He conducted 3 spacewalks during his expedition 25-26 mission. Okay, born on Christmas Day, 1959, Michael Anderson, STS-89, STS-107. He flew on 2 space shuttle missions, which was a docking mission to the STS-89, which was a docking mission to the Mir Space Station, and STS-107, where he served as a payload commander for a dedicated science mission. He was killed in the Columbia disaster during re-entry. Okay, and then December 26, 1950, Barbara Barrett. She was certified for space flight and a space flight backup participant for Soyuz. She trained as an astronaut in Russia and was certified for space flight, serving as the backup space flight participant for the Soyuz TMA-16 flight. She's also a pilot and served as the 25th United States Secretary of the Air Force. Okay, in December 26, 1953, Valery Sharov was a Russian journalist selected as a cosmonaut in 1990, but never assigned to a space flight. He retired in 1992 after completing his basic training. Okay, in December 27th, 1970, Naoko Yamazaki. She was on STS-131. She was the second Japanese woman to fly in space, serving as mission specialist on the STS-131 aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery. During her mission, she operated the robotic arm of the Space Shuttle and the ISS and orchestrated cargo transfer activities. Okay, this week in space history, December 21st, 1968, NASA launched Apollo 8, marking a pivotal moment in space exploration. This mission was the first crewed spacecraft to journey beyond Earth's orbit and reach the moon. The 3-person crew successfully entered lunar orbit, making them the first humans to see the far side of the moon. Their journey provided critical experience and data for future lunar landing missions. Apollo 8's mission paved the way for Apollo 11 and significantly boosted American morale during the space race. Okay, December 22nd, 2015, was the first SpaceX achieved a groundbreaking feat by successfully landing the first stage of its Falcon 9 rocket. This historic event marked the first time an orbital rocket booster had returned to a vertical landing zone after launch. The achievement demonstrated the viability of reusable rocket technology, a critical step towards reducing the cost of space travel. This success was a major milestone for SpaceX and the broader commercial space industry. It opened a new era for sustainable space exploration and frequent access to orbit. And on December 24, 1968, Christmas Eve, Apollo 8 successfully entered lunar orbit, making its crew the first humans orbit another celestial body. From this vantage point, the astronauts made a famous live television broadcast reading from the book of Genesis to a global audience. They also captured the iconic Earthrise photograph, which profoundly impacted humanity's perception of Earth. This broadcast and image provided a powerful message of peace and unity during a tumultuous year, 1968, yeah. The mission's success deepened our understanding of the moon and our place in the cosmos. Okay, December 25th, 2021, the James Webb Space Telescope, the most powerful space telescope ever built, was launched on Christmas Day. This ambitious observatory is designed to provide unprecedented insights into the universe's formation and the origins of galaxies. Its advanced infrared capabilities allow it to peer through cosmic dusk and observe the very first stars and galaxies. It is a collaborative effort between NASA, European Space Agency, and CSA, promising to revolutionize astronomy for decades. Its mission aims to unravel some of the universe's deepest mysteries, from exoplanet atmospheres to earliest moments of cosmic history. Okay, in December 26, 1974, the Soviet Union launched Soyuz 4, a second-generation space station designed for scientific research. It was equipped with advanced instruments for solar studies and Earth observation. It hosted two successful crewed missions, Soyuz 17 and 18, which conducted extensive experiments over several months. It significantly contributed to long-duration spaceflight research and the development of space station technology. Its operational success demonstrated the Soviet Union's continued commitment to advancing human presence in space. And that is it for this episode. So I will return this back to Billye. Back to you, Billye, W5GUS.
Great, thank you, Gus. This is KF5PDS, Billye, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, before we move on to our next segment, I just want to take a quick pause. I just looked at the club website hot link check-in list, and there's no one new checked in over there, but I just wanted to pause in case there was somebody on frequency that wanted to check in and had not checked in yet. So if you're out there and you want to check into this evening's net, please come now with your call sign, name, and where you're transmitting from. Okay, not hearing any check-ins, so we'll go ahead and move on. I'll return the net to Chaz, KF5JHA, for Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week from KF5PDS.
Thank you, Billye. Good evening once again. Slide Master, slide number 15. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week is named in honor of Silent Key Carolyn, KC50ZT. Carolyn contributed to Skynet each week, almost from its beginning in 2012 until May of 2019, with a detailed look at one particular constellation each week. Since there are about 52 easily visible constellations seen in Texas throughout the year out of the 88 total number of constellations, so Miss Carolyn covered the entire sky as seen over Texas in a year. And in her honor, we've continued that tradition of a constellation per week and named this segment after her. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week this week is a twofer. Fornax, the furnace, and Eridanus, the river. This is a multiple week delay because of various factors, but we were going to do this about 3 weeks ago, but we're doing it now. This is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Fornax, the furnace, is one of the more modern constellations in the southern sky, created by the French astronomer Nicolas Louis de Lasalle in 1751. He originally named it the chemical furnace, but the name has since been shortened to just Fornax, the furnace. Slide master, slide number 16. Oh, and of course, this is the jokes of the week. Here you go. Related to the constellations, here we go. Do you hear about the pottery furnace that exploded? It was terrible. They had to notify the next of kiln. Come on, that was funny. Last winter there was a guy who got into an argument with his furnace. You could say that things got a little bit heated. This guy's furnace broke down on him, so they threw a housewarming party. Another guy fell into the river in Egypt last week and swears he didn't. He's in denial. Two hillbillies, now I'm a hillbilly, so at least more than one half hillbilly, so I'm telling this joke on myself. Two hillbillies were on opposite river banks. One hollered over, "How do you get to the other side?" The other one hollered back, "You're on the other side." And the final joke, why does a river have a lot of money? Because it has two banks. And this is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide master, slide number 17. Alpha Fornax, the brightest star in Fornax, it shines at a magnitude of 3.8 and is the only star in Fornax brighter than the fourth magnitude. Alpha Fornax is two proper names associated with it, Dalaman and Fornaces. It's a binary star. The companion star, Fornaces B, shines at about magnitude 7. It is separated by 5 arc seconds. It takes about 300 years to complete an orbit. In a telescope, it looks like a white or yellow-white, and there are 5 or 6 other stars in the field of view as well. Slide master, slide number 18. NGC, which stands for New General Catalog 1360. Dave Hutchinson notes in his Constellation of the Month article from the Spectrum newsletter about Fornax that everyone who observes this planetary nebula wonders why this object is not more well known. It's a large object and not one of the typical smaller planetary nebulas that look almost like a star at first glance. NGC 1360 is large enough and bright enough that it can be seen in a 60-millimeter refractor and has been observed with instruments that are slightly smaller. The late Walter Scott Houston, in his Deep Sky Wonders column, called it Fantastic Fornax Planetary. Slide master, slide number 19. Hubble Ultra Deep Field was taken what looks like from the Earth as an area void of anything. Dave Hutchinson pointed his telescope to the region of the Hubble Ultra Deep Field and saw nothing. However, Dave notes that today's amateur telescopes are seeing astronomical objects that would have been considered impossible 20 or 30 years ago. They're producing remarkable photographs. I've shared some of those with my C-Star telescopes recently. So sometimes maybe even they can exceed what's produced by larger observatories or space probes from not too long ago. Quoting from his article, our challenge is now to see what amateurs can show 20 years from now in this small corner of space. Slide master, slide number 20, please. constellation of Eridanus is what the ancient Greeks called the Po River. In mythology, Eridanus is associated with the tragic story of Phaethon, the mortal son of the sun god Helios. He was asked Helios to allow him to drive the chariot of the sun for a single day, a wish that Helios reluctantly granted. He lost control of the chariot and passed it too close to the earth, setting whole mountain ranges on fire. Zeus had to intervene to save the earth from destruction with a well-placed lightning bolt. His blazing body fell from the chariot into the Eridanus River, and the waters which quenched the flames. He was killed, but the earth was saved. Slide Master, slide number 21. Epsilon Eridani is an interesting star on several levels. For one thing, it is one of the nearest naked-eye stars to the Sun. Epsilon is about 10.5 light-years away. Among the naked-eye stars, only Alpha Centauri system and Sirius are closer. Secondly, it is comparable to our Sun in spectral type and luminosity. And finally, astronomers believe there is a Jupiter-sized extrasolar planet in orbit around it, making Epsilon one of the nearest stars to our solar system known to have planets. Well, Alpha Centauri has a planet, we believe, too. The planet also takes 7 years to orbit Epsilon with an average distance of 3.4 astronomical units. An astronomical unit is the distance between the Earth and the Sun. The star Achernar, Alpha Eridanus, is also called the star of the end of the river. That's the translation. It's actually where Achernar is, in its extreme southern end of the constellation. Achernar is a magnitude 0.53 blue-white giant star of spectral type B. It is about 120 light-years away. You may be wondering why such a bright and easily visible naked-eye star would be called a challenging object. The challenge is to travel far enough south to see it. Achernar cannot be seen from Dallas or from the most southern part of the United States. It's visible from Florida, maybe, in the southern parts of the Texas Gulf Coast, of course from Hawaii as well. It can be seen from the Davis Mountains and Big Bend regions of Texas in autumn evenings. Unfortunately, it cannot be seen in the Texas Star Party since the sun is up the same time as Achernar is during that time. I understand that it can be seen from the Eldorado Star Party since it is up early morning hours before the dawn during the time that the Eldorado Star Party is held. Slide Master, slide number 22. And NGC stands for New General Catalog. 1291 is an unusual galaxy. Looks somewhat like a spiral galaxy, except it appears that the spiral arms have separated from the nucleus, forming a ring around the nucleus, with a sizable gap between the nucleus and the ring. Very unusual. Slide Master, slide number 23. NGC 1535 is a planetary nebula known as Cleopatra's Eye. The Astronomical League guidebook observing Herschel observing objects described the nebula as a small, circular, and almost stellar in size, with a definite blue tint. Dave Hutchinson recommends a large aperture telescope for viewing this object, as well as taking some time to observe it to give your eye a chance to make out some of the details. Walter Scott Houston notes that NGC 1535 were in a close agreement to Dave's observation. This is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide number 24. Now, there is a far more Astronomical League observing program objects in the constellation of Fornax the furnace, and Eridanus the river. I've given you just a sampling of some of those objects. The Astronomical League has, at last count, 96 different observing programs, most of which have about 100 objects. So if you observe just 10 different objects in an observing program each month, then you can earn an observing certificate and a pen from the Astronomical League in about a year. Slide Master, slide number 25, and that is Miss Carolyn's Constellations of the week, Fornax the furnace, and Eridanus the river. I want to thank my friends Dave Hutchinson and Dennis Harwell for their research and words on deep sky objects that I use, borrow, and steal for every Skynet. I also at times use the website constellation-guide.com for information. Next week we'll take a look at another twofer, Perseus the hero and Camelopardus the giraffe. And this is KF5 JHA Chaz saying good night. 73. Back to our net control, Billye. It's yours.
Great, thank you, Chaz. This is KF5 PDS, Billye, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Looking over on the club website check-in list, I see KO4WCX, Paul, in Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina, on the All-Star link. Welcome, Paul. The Outer Banks is one of my favorite places on Earth. I love Ocracoke. That's one of my favorite places to go in the Outer Banks, but I have been to Kill Devil Hills, too. All right. Let me see if there's anyone on frequency that would like to check in. If you would like to check into this evening's net, please come now with your call sign, name, and where you're transmitting from. All right, not hearing any check-ins, so at this time, we'll turn the net over to Tom, KE5ICX, for his segments, space launches for the week, and visible satellite passages over the next couple of days. So, Tom, you have my permission to go and do your 2 consecutive segments. So this is to KE5ICX from KF5PDS.
Thank you, Billye. This is KE5ICX. We have for this week, we've got on January 3rd, our first Starlink flight of 2026 will be 6-88. This will be from SLC 40 at Cape Canaveral in Florida. This will be another launch of 29 Starlink D2 mini satellites into low Earth orbit. Then we have in January 12th, 13th overnight, will be the Spectrum launch. This will be the second test flight. This will be from Andøya Spaceport in Norway, Launch Complex 1. I think this is the first time I've ever made this announcement. The Spectrum rocket from ISAR Aerospace will launch on its second test flight. As of December 22nd, the payload for this mission has not been announced. And that's all I got on that one. Then in February, we have February 1st, H3 launch of the QZS-7. This will be from Yoshinobu Launch Complex in JAXA Tagamisha Space Center. Now, I do have to say that I don't know if this is going to be a go or not, since the last H3 launch was failed. So this may be put on hold. Anyway, it says at this point, an H3 launch vehicle, a rocket developed through the partnership between Mitsubishi Heavy Industry and JAXA, will launch the Mitsubishi number 7 Quasi-Zenith Satellite System, or QZS-7. This will be the 9th launch of the H3 rocket. Then we have on February 6th, Space Launch System Artemis 2. Yes, Launch Complex 39B at Kennedy Space Center will be the launch site for the Orion spacecraft on the Artemis 2 mission, the first crewed flight of the program. NASA astronauts Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Koch, along with Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen, will perform a lunar flyby during a roughly 10-day mission that will see their capsule Integrity splash down in the Pacific Ocean. February 15th, we'll have another launch, SLC-40, from Cape Canaveral. This will be a Falcon 9 launch, a 4-person crew to the International Space Station. We did mention that earlier on our featured topic. This will be the Crew 12 flight. Be with Jessica Meir, who will command the mission alongside pilot and fellow NASA astronaut Jack Hathaway. They are joined by mission specialist Sophie Eridanus and a European Agency astronaut and Audrey Fedies, a Roscosmos cosmonaut. This will be the second flight from Meir and Fedies, as the first flight for both Hathaway and Adna. The quartet will conduct a long-duration mission out board the ISS. Following stage separation, the first stage booster supporting this mission will return to the landing site adjacent to the launch pad at Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral. And that's it, Billy. Back to you, KE5, ICX. Forgive me. I looked and I thought I had a blank thing there, and no, I don't. So let's go ahead and talk about satellite passages over the next couple of days. Boy, I think I needed an extra nap today. This is from heavensabove.com, and we have the International Space Station. December 29th is the first really great pass, minus 1.3 magnitude at 6:30 in the morning. It'll be out of the north, it reaches highest point 16 degrees at 1632, and fall to the east-northeast at 6:35. December 30th, the following day, minus 1.0 magnitude. This is at 10 degrees. This is at 5:43 in the morning. 5:44, it reaches 11 degrees. So it's kind of low in the sky, and then it'll fall to the northeast at 5:45. December 31st, now we're talking, we got minus 2.8 magnitude, 6:30 in the morning. It's out of the north-northwest, reaches highest point at 41 degrees at 6:33. It'll fall to the east-southeast at 6:36. January 1st, minus 2.0 magnitude. That's at 5:44 in the morning. It'll be at 23 degrees. It'll reach its highest point at 24 degrees. So it'll be coming slightly out of shadow at 5:44. It'll fall to the east. Then we have January 2nd, it could pass minus 3.5 magnitude. This one will be at 6:31 in the morning as the west-northwest. Reach its highest point at 6:33. And it'll fall to the south-southeast at 6:36. January 3rd, minus 3.5 magnitude. This is at 5:45. This one will be in partial shadow. It'll come out of shadow at 66 degrees at 5:45:01. It'll be in the south, fall to the southeast at 5:48. January 4th, minus 1.8 magnitude. This will be at 6:31 a.m. out of the west-southwest. Reach its highest point at 15 degrees at 6:32. It'll fall to the south-southwest. January 5th, minus 1.7 magnitude, 5:45 a.m. It'll reach its highest point at 5:45, 19 degrees. This one will also be in shadow, and it'll fall to the south at 5:47. So every night for the next week will be every morning, I should say, early before dawn, we'll have a good pass of the International Space Station. Now, Tiangong, the Chinese space station, also has some passes. Let me reset. This is at 6:30 a.m. It'll reach its highest point at 6:32 at 16 degrees, and it'll fall to the east-northeast. December 30th, minus 1.0 magnitude. This one's kind of low in the sky. 5:43 a.m. Reach its highest point at 11 degrees at 5:44. December 31st. Now we're talking a good one. Minus 2.8 magnitude. 6:30 a.m. Out of the north-northwest to reach its highest point at 41 degrees at 6:33. And it'll fall to the east-southeast at 6:36. January 1st, minus 2.0 magnitude, 5:44 a.m. It'll come out of shadow at 24 degrees, and it'll fall to the east at 5:47. Next good pass, January 2nd. This is a good one. Minus 3.5 magnitude at 6:31 in the morning out of the west-northwest. Reaches highest point at 52 degrees at 6:33 and fall to the south-south to east. January 3rd, another really good pass. Minus 3.5 magnitude. Now this one does come out of shadow, so it would be mid-flight before you, mid-crossing when you see it. 5:45 would be almost overhead, 66 degrees, and then it will fall to the southeast at 5:48. But this will be by far the brightest of the ones that I've mentioned. January 4th, minus 1.8 magnitude, 6:31 a.m. It'll reach its highest point at 15 degrees at 6:32 and fall to the south-southwest at 6:34. Then January 5th kind of repeats the same process, minus 1.7 magnitude at 5:45, out of the south at 5:45. Now, I've mentioned these, and I want you to realize something really rather interesting. Yeah, I found something really interesting here. I think I duplicated the numbers somehow or another. Oh, well. Well, one of those two, I believe that was the International Space Station. I just repeated the same numbers to you twice. So forgive me, I messed up on the presentation this evening, but that happens sometimes. So enjoy the passes. If you would like to get accurate information from somebody other than me, go to the website, heavensabove.com, and get the information there. You just put in your longitude and latitude, or the city that you happen to be observing from, and it will give you the proper Keplers. But be careful, don't duplicate the same numbers twice. Back to you, Billye, KE5, ICX.
Great, thank you, Tom. All right, yeah, heavens-above.com is great. You can put in your location coordinates and get all the latest and greatest information. All right, next up, we have some time for astronomical Q&A. So if there's anyone on frequency that has an astronomical question, we'll give you some time to ask. So if you have a question for our panel tonight, please come now with your call sign. Okay, not hearing any questions. So is there anyone on frequency that would like to check in for this evening's net? I'll take a final round of check-ins. I just looked on the club website check-in list. Everyone over there is checked in. I believe everyone's checked in on Echolink. So if there's someone on radio frequency that has not checked into this evening's net, please come now with your call sign name and where you're transmitting from. Final, last call for check-ins.
This is November 8th, Whiskey Romeo, N8WWR, Romy, I'm in Grapevine. Thanks for running the net. Late check-in.
W5GS with a question.
Great. November 8th, WWR, Romy and Grapevine. Always a pleasure to have you check in, sir. And W5GUS, Gus, what is your question?
Okay, thank you, Billye. I was just wanted to confirm that I believe I heard that there will not be a Skynet next Saturday night. Is that correct? W5GUS.
Yes, that is correct. There will not be a Skynet or an Afterglow Movie net. Those are preempted for the post-memorial dinner. Let me get back to that information. That will be at El Phoenix. So again, the memorial for Silent Key Brenda WB50ZL is Saturday, January 3rd at 2 p.m. at Sparkman Hillcrest Funeral Home, 7405 West Northwest Highway in Dallas. And there will be a post-memorial get-together at 7 p.m. El Phoenix, located in Northwest Plaza, address 6811 West Northwest Highway, number 5, Dallas, Texas. They close at 10 p.m. So, yeah, there will be no Skynet or Afterglow that evening on the air, but everyone's encouraged to come out to Brenda's memorial and dinner at El Phoenix. Does anybody have any other questions or last check-ins? If you're checking in, please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from. If you have a question, just come with your call sign.
Kilo Echo 5 Lima Zulu Echo checking in. No questions, no comments, just checking in. QSL?
So I've got KE5LZE. If you could come with your name and where you're transmitting from so I could fill out my log sheet, that would be great.
Okay, sorry about that. It's Kilo Echo 5 Lima Zulu Echo Romeo Alpha November Delta Yankee. I'm transmitting from Little Elm, Texas, QSL.
I'm sorry, you came so fast with your name. I got Little Elm. If you could give it to me a little bit slower, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Romeo Alpha November Delta Yankee, QSL.
Got it that time, Randy. Thanks for checking in from Little Elm. I also see that W5BLT Bill is on Echolink as well. If there's anyone else that would like to check in, please come now with your call sign, name, and where you're transmitting from. All right. Does anyone need any fills on any information that was given in tonight's net? If so, please come now with your call sign. Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and close this evening's net. So tonight we had 22 hams participating on the air. Thank you to all who checked in this evening. We hope you'll join us here next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration. On this net, the sky is never the limit. We're always looking for net control stations for this and all the other DARC nets. If you'd like to try your hand at this, contact any of the net controls by sending an email to nets@w5fc.org. You can follow topics and discussion about this net and astronomy in general on Facebook and X, as well as our audio and video streams, video archives, and other useful internet resources by going to w5fc.org at the conclusion of this net. So until next Saturday night, this is KF5PDS, Billye, and I'll be closing the net at 22:28 local time and returning the repeater to normal amateur use. 73, everybody, and enjoy the evening discovering the universe. And remember, coming up at 10:30 is the Afterglow Movie net. So you'll want to stay tuned for that, where we'll be discussing Let me find the movie name again. LX 2048 from 2020. 73, everybody.
W5FC.
I'm completely operational and all my circuits are functioning perfectly.
Afterglow Movie Net.
All right, it is now time for the Afterglow Movie Net. We've had 5 minutes, enough time to go make some microwave popcorn, bring it back, sit down in front of the radio, and discuss tonight's movie called LX2048. So I did not find a wiki description, but I did find a short review of the movie. It has a running time of 103 minutes, and it is currently streaming on Amazon, iTunes, Comcast, Spectrum, Dish, DirecTV, and Vudu. It got 3.5 out of potential 5 stars. Houston Chronicle weighed in on it from Carly Carey Darling, and they say the following: it's always fun when a little film comes out of nowhere that has the ability to surprise. Such is the case with director-writer Guy Moshe's LX2048, a low-budget Adam Bird, his credits as a man at odds with his world. He lives in a future far enough ahead for clones. Early 21st century Mercedes-Benz, but his old school insists on doing things the way he always has. Because of the toxicity and the broiling heat of the outdoor environment, humanity has been driven indoors, squandering its existence on designer drugs and virtual reality. Clones, resistant to what has turned humans into high-tech cave dwellers, do the dirty work of keeping society going. But Bird, dressed like a hazmat worker, still insists on going to his office where he works life, separated from his wife and not allowed to see his 3 sons. Things couldn't seem to get any worse, but of course they do. He's diagnosed by a clone, of course, with an irreparable heart malfunction that'll slowly kill him. When the story goes from there, where the story goes from there manages to keep the viewer guessing. Just know that it also includes an entertaining appearance from the always welcome Delroy 2048, so the film's in nearly the plot of the movie. Let me see if I got any other particulars for you. Got a 47% rating on Rotten Tomatoes based on 30 reviews. 4 out of 5 stars from Sci-Fi Now. Guardian awarded it 3 out of 5. Let's see. There was one negative review from an Ed Fortune. He says it's partially saved by some amazing key points and twists. Ultimately, though, it's just too long and way too interested in its own cleverness. Let's see. I think that's it. So, essentially what we'll do is we'll take your call sign name and did you see the film, and then we'll talk about the film. So let's get started.
Number 5, Bravo, Bravo, Bill and Irving. I've watched the first 2/3 of the film, and you were breaking up a couple of times there, Tom, so we missed little, 20-second chunks of what you were saying inside BB.
This is Whiskey 5, Lincoln Lettuce Tomato, W5BLT, Phil, Garland, not a clone. Yes, I did see this movie.
Oscar Kilo. Sean Fort Worth. Yes, I did see this movie.
November Victor 5 Foxtrot, Virginia in Fort Worth. I did not see the movie.
All right, let me go ahead and get these check-ins. I've got N5DB, Bill and Irving. He's seen about 2/3 of it, so we'll give him a yes on that. W5DLT, Bill, and great. Where are you? Can't even write it down. I'm getting Charlie Garland, I think. Yes, he saw the film. KB9SOK, Sean Fort Worth. Yes, he saw the film. NV5F, Virginia and Fort Worth. A rarity, she did not see the film, but we'll ask her if she would like to see it after our reviews. I'll go ahead and take additional check-ins if you'd like to join us this evening. Even if you haven't seen the film, that's fine. Tonight's movie is LX 2048 from 2020. So please come with your call sign name. Did you see the film? All right, I'll squeak in one more round. I see some folks over on Echolink. If you'd like to join us, this will be your opportunity since there are several on Echolink. Please come now. Okay, we'll see if we can get this round down and see if we'll get any other hangers on that might want to join us on the net. So we'll go down the list as you checked in that order. So we'll start with Bill. You were first on the runway, N5DB. Bill, you get the first question, which is, what did you think about the plot? At least as far as you've gotten so far from KD5 ICX.
Well, this is N5DB. Thank you, Tom. I've gotten to the point in the plot where I'm still watching it, where the clone arrives at his place after his wife is run over by the truck. So I have no idea what happens after this. Some things about the plot and the presentation on streaming video. So far, I've seen several ads for artificial intelligence-related things. So this is rather, in one case, depressing. I'm watching a movie about AI-related things and cloning and a lot of AI stuff. And what do I get? But it's pushing a lot of ads about AI stuff at me during the breaks, which is rather weird. I don't understand right now, as my point in watching this, how in the world there can be two of him in existence at once, and how in the world the other creature can have his memories, or most of his memories, because they didn't, suck him out of his head right now. Were they in memories from a few years ago or when he signed up? I don't really understand. And I don't understand how how the clone of his wife that looks like his AI girlfriend, does she have his wife's memories? And so how did she get them? When? How did they suck those out? So those things about the plot are completely confusing to me. I don't understand exactly what Lithium X does, but I'm assuming it's a feel-good drug. And I didn't understand the scientist that came in with the gun, and unless I missed something, he just disappeared and the gun was still there. So I did not understand that part of the plot. It may have been during a commercial break or something that just distracted me. So I guess I'm confused about some plot points. Like, why is the gun there but the black scientist is not there? And how in the world do they suck the memories out of somebody to put him in this clone? Anyway, I guess if I continue watching the movie, I might learn about those plot points. But it sounds interesting. I guess that's all I got for now. N5BB.
Oh, Bill, you're so hopeful at plot development. It's science fiction. You know they're not going to explain everything, or even the things that matter. It's the story, my friend, not the logical science that goes along with it, at least not on this one. Oh, well, what can I say? Okay, hopefully my audio will be fine. There was some spottiness earlier, but it went away, and I do know that the little relay, I guess you would call it, server repeater thing that I talk into, when it puts out a ID, its own ID to keep it FCC legal, I think it interferes with my transmission when it does that, and it doesn't seem to care when it does it. It just, every 10 minutes or so, it puts it out whether I'm talking or not, and as a result, you don't hear it, I hear it, and when I transmit, sometimes I think it just doubles and causes weirdness to happen. But that's my story. Okay, next up is Bill, W5BLT. Bill, this movie was virtually all talk and no action. It's right down your alley. So what did you think? I hope you can explain it because I kind of fell asleep a couple of times in the middle of it yesterday. So hopefully you know what's going on with it from KE5 ICX.
Well, this is one movie where I wish they did not have audio, or if it was in a different language, and then I wouldn't have had to suffer. I like George Lucas's film now that set me off a couple weeks ago, but this one, I've never regretted watching a movie for Afterglow until today. And this silly thing, I think there was a movie, I never watched it because I think it was about a divorced couple, like Kramer versus Kramer, and you know, maybe this was like on steroids or whatever that drug that they were giving people. It's supposed to, I think that drug was supposed to either keep the clones calm or the people relaxed, but based on the guy's language and stuff and his wife and everything, they didn't seem really relaxed to me. And I guess the sun either burns people up or causes all kinds of issues because they can't go out in the day, but the clones can, and then Adam goes to work in some kind of protective suit and sits there at a table, you know, by himself, and it's just really depressing. This whole film was depressing. I mean, it made the one we watched about Australia waiting for the radiation to get there like a happy movie. Let's see, so we start out and I guess this company has figured out how to clone people, and these clones can go outside, I guess, or, I don't know, and it starts out he's having a meeting, Adam finds out about it, he's got a heart problem, and then we learn that you can clone yourself, and you can get like some sort of life insurance plan or something, like you die and your kids are left, and you take care of your kids, and a couple hours later you can have your clone, and your spouse is happy, your kids are happy, and I don't know how they did all that, but it only takes a couple hours, and I guess your clone has the memories and stuff, and you could, I think if you're wealthy enough, you can get the specialized plan. And then they're having issues because he lives in a separate house or apartment from her, and the kids are going into the realm, I guess, or people, during the day they go to the realm and maybe they come out at night because, of course, the sun is deadly. We didn't really explain how that happened. It just sort of is there, like we just drop in on these people again. At the movie, like they always like to do, just drop you right into the middle with no explanation and no really background on these characters or why I should care about them. And unfortunately, the sun can't wipe out the clones either. Didn't tell us what happened to the animals on the world, so maybe they're not there either. I don't know why these people didn't go underground like in the George Lucas movie. Maybe that would have been better if they'd gone underground. But no, they had to clone people. Oh, what else can I say about this movie? So then the wife gets hit by the car, and then he clones his dream girlfriend or whatever that he had, and or virtual girlfriend or whatever. It's really interesting because it has some points here about AI and cloning, which we see people wanting to do now, and people wanting to figure out how to transfer your brain into some android or, something so you could live forever. And this movie screams don't. But somehow when this idea was being floated, nobody in the room screamed don't. It's unfortunate, because we lost about an hour and 40 minutes on this. There was lots of dialogue, I will give it that. I think the only action thing happened with her that hit his wife when they were arguing, or the truck that hit her, and then I think at the end there was a little bit of tussle with the clone and Adam. And then I don't want to spoil it for Bill because he's going to watch it. He's going to finish it and get through it because misery loves company, and I know Virginia's going to watch it as well. Again, it had some interesting points, but they tried to cram in so much, and the marital conflict, it just got unbearable. It's just such a depressing movie. That's all I got. W5BLT.
All right, thank you, Bill. Your previously hated film was THX 1138. Your new most hated film is LX 2048. Kind of similar, isn't it? The letter group ends in X, the number group ends in 8. So it's a X8. So there's something going on there, Bill. Maybe it's your numerology thing that you're finding you're disliking. I don't know. We'll just have to ask later. All right. Next up is Sean, KB9SOK. Sean, you saw the film. Do you agree with Bill? Is this movie just not suitable for human consumption? From KE5, ICX.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Well, Bill did hit the nail on the head with the part about it being depressing. That was one of the feelings I had from this movie. It was just non-stop depressing, pretty much from the get-go to the very end. So I would agree with that. One of the big problems with this movie, and Bill number one kind of alluded to it, they didn't explain a lot. And to kind of go into that a little bit, they basically tried to take 37 different themes from other sci-fi movies and tried to cram them all into one movie, and basically didn't really explain any of them. We obviously had the drug that's supposed to make you nice and happy and compliant. We've seen that before. Does that sound familiar? Maybe that other movie, DHX. We've had, this movie was a warning about clones. We had clones. We had this movie was apocalyptic. You know, we had the sun that was too dangerous to be out in. Check on that. We had a movie that warned us about, you know, we even briefly touched on the idea of putting your conscience into a chip. We had that at the end. We have that. And then, of course, one of the maybe bigger things about this, obviously clones was one of them. The other thing was about virtual girlfriends. So this movie was pretty much a warning about all technologies, period, that are starting to emerge. Obviously, we've already had situations where people have started to fall in love with virtual AIs, and that's our thing. The thing for your kids, not clones, but there's already an AI out there that you can supposedly play several movies, or you basically upload a bunch of movies of a loved one, and it'll create a virtual person of them. That way, the idea is so your kids, so like if their father passes, their kid can have a virtual father and have like a real conversation, because it's supposed to be so realistic, because it has all these family videos uploaded, and talk about creepy. And this movie kind of warns about all of that. And that's really, I think, the point they were trying to make, but they tried to do too much in this film. And it was just, and then with it just being so depressing over and over and over. And then I think they were just trying to cram way, way too much into this. Clearly somebody is in full panic mode that wrote this about the future. And not saying that we shouldn't be cautious of these tales, but they just tried to do too much and didn't really explain anything. I get the gist of the whole thing. They skipped a lot of explanations. They don't tell you how they download the conscious. They just tell you that they do download your memories into it. They don't give any detail. And supposedly you can constantly update it. So if something happens to you, then, your clone steps in. And yes, at the end, Bill, that older guy that left the gun, he was the scientist that created most of the technologies. The guy met with him because he wanted to get the technology for the new chip that's going to replace the VR and to save his company. And that guy basically said, no, instead of doing that, I'm going to give you your virtual girlfriend. I found a way to bring him to life. And then the guy left, apparently just forgot his gun. Of course, he had to have a reason for the gun later, and I won't spoil that. That's pretty much what the gist of this thing was. Very depressing. Tried to push way too much into it. Overall, I'm afraid this one I'm going to have to give a thumbs down. Anyway, back to net, KB9SOK.
All right, thank you, Sean. Not looking good for this film, but okay. It's San Virginia ND5F. I'm going to wait on her in just a little bit because I think I know what she's going to say. No, I'm not going to watch this film, but I'm going to give her an opportunity to listen to more testimonials before I go and pop the question. Does anyone else want to check in this evening? We're talking about the movie LX 2048, but we could be talking about any dystopian film you want because pretty much this movie had that plot piece to it. If anyone else want to join us, please come now with your call sign name. Did you see tonight's movie LX 2048 from 2020? Okay, I thought not. It's going to be a quiet evening tonight. Well, let's see. What can I say about this film that hasn't already been said? I can tell you that I fell asleep more than once during this film last night. I really went to, if you're an insomniac and you need sleep, watch this film. It'll put you right out. And so I missed probably key pieces to this, which is why I was listening intently, but maybe there weren't any key pieces to miss. Exposition is fine as long as it has a purpose. The problem with this film is that, and people mentioned this quite honestly, is I don't know what the consequences are outside of, well, he's going to die because he has a heart condition. That's fine. I think he did the act well. We can talk about the acting here in a bit, but the fact that he's not really reacting to any people in the conference room makes him look like a Looney Tunes, but that's okay. Less impact that way. I suppose we don't know what the science is. We don't understand the consequences of what's happening, except that everybody's inside all the time. And I can see this movie as being somewhat, who cares, while we were living through the middle of COVID, which is about the time this movie came out, 2020, COVID was 2019, 2020. Hard to believe it's been that long ago now. But in any case, it went a whole year and a half. Did not care about the characters. Really didn't make any difference to me who they were. So when people got wiped out, it was actually a relief because that was one less person talking me to death into sleep, into slumber. But I don't know. Yeah, the virtual reality and all that, the drugs, we've seen all this before, so that doesn't really open any new frontiers. Somebody who's better, programmed better, we've had that argument before, and I suppose that's fine. We know that when he comes back from a clone, he ends up like he actually gets better because he becomes the lead in Greece, based on what he was wearing when his clone showed up. But not for very long because he got wiped out. Alright, so there you have it. That's my bit. I'm sticking with it. Okay, Virginia, NV5F, front and center. I think I already know the answer, but is this a film that you would actually want to see from KE5 ICX?
Thank you, Tom. This is Virginia, NV5F. Well, any movie that Bill hates worse than PHX 1138, and despite the copious amounts of dialogue, probably not something I would like. And then you being happy that people are getting wiped out. So, yeah, I'm going to say I probably will not take the time to watch this movie. It sounds, in fact, Bill earlier today texted that it was the most depressing movie we had ever watched. So, me being the kind of person who likes things to be positive, and I can handle some pathos as long as it's got a reason and serves a purpose. And I guess if there's something hopeful in it, that's helpful too. But yeah, it's not really looking good for this movie as far as me spending any time watching it. So thanks everybody for suffering through this and being willing to describe it on this net tonight, so I'll know not to watch it. Back to net, NV5F.
Very good. Yes, we did you a service by allowing you to miss out on this fine film, and it I don't know. It wasn't that bad. I mean, visually it looked good, and it seemed like it was going someplace, and it held my interest for a while until it just didn't seem to be going anywhere at any point. And I just kind of just faded away. My defense is to fall asleep if it turns out it's not kind of living up to its potential. Oh well. All right. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and move to the acting and casting characterization. So we can do that. There's not a lot of folks in this film, but there are a couple, literally 3, I think, 4 that I can think of, plus the guy that gets to check them in. Is that 5? Something like that. Okay, Bill, N5BB, you're up. What'd you think of characterization on our fine film from KE5 ICX?
This is N5BB. Thank you, Tom. I've now got 20 more minutes till I finish the film. So I've seen the clone of Adam come back and talk to him. That's what's occurring right now. Acting characterization. I don't know. For the protagonist, Adam seems to me to be angry with life in general, and I don't know if it's a psychiatric problem or it's just the society making him crazy. But it was a little difficult to kind of hang in there and like him when he was acting so erratic and out of control and near psychotic, I think. In fact, maybe full psychotic, because he seemed to be imagining things. In fact, I wasn't really sure if the doctor, the guy with the gun, was he real or was he imagined? I'm still trying to figure that out. The gun's still hanging around, but I don't know where the guy went. And he seems to have flashbacks or dreams of the guy. I don't know. I haven't figured out what's real and what's in his brain. The characterizations. The wife was, I didn't like her. Let's put it that way. She really kind of was trying to split the family up and turn the kids against him and everything. So I didn't like her. I didn't like Adam either because he was so, like, mentally unstable, I guess is the best way of describing it. Angry at the world, screaming at everybody, swearing at everybody. I don't know. I don't like that kind of attitude. Now, his clone is a real, the first, I've only seen this clone for a couple of minutes. His clone seemed to, his wife removed all the edges. His clone's really suave and calm, and I didn't understand his avatar girlfriend came back. Is that supposed to be his wife coming back? But she came back as the avatar girlfriend? I did not understand that. I'm confused by the plot. So it's hard for me to figure out the characterization when the plot seems so unstable. Production qualities are reasonable, though. guess I'm going to have to see the rest of it to get a better idea. I mean, the last 20 minutes is either going to do nothing for me or it's going to clear up some of these loose threads. And maybe I'll either hate the movie like Bill or like the movie. I don't know if anybody here likes it, but maybe I'll like it once I watch the last 20 minutes. Inside BB.
All right, don't get your hopes up. You've been warned. Next up is Bill, W5BLT. Bill, your thoughts on characterizations. Which one did you hate the most? And then which one did you like? Hate the least. How's that? From KE5I6.
Well, you know, there is something to that about the George Lucas and the numbers and letters. I was thinking about that in the film, and this one kind of set me off the same way. The characterization here, I thought everybody did a good job with what they had. I didn't think the acting was bad. I think everybody did their part and showed up and did their job. And, you know, sometimes you just have to show up and do your job. And they did it, and they obviously got paid. I don't know, something. I couldn't find anything on what this thing earned. By the way, it came out on September 25th, which I think it was released September 25th in the U.S., and so that was another insult to me, because September 25th is important to me, and this film didn't deserve to be released on that day, or any of the other 364 days, not even in leap year did it deserve a day. But anyway, it got released, I think, on September 25th, and then as far as the characters, yeah, I didn't really care for the wife, but I didn't care for Adam. It seemed like he was trying to make money, and I think he was kind of involved in getting some of this ship stuff or things started, and he just wanted to find another way to make money so his company doesn't go under. But it seems like he's not really striving to make the world a better place, although he longs to go back for a time when everybody was outside and not zoned out on drugs or in the realm, I think is what they called it. And, you know, it's kind of interesting because people zone out on their phones, and we're all heavily medicated society. I mean, there's so many things that they could have done with this movie, maybe explain a little better. I saw one of the critics thought this would be a great series on TV, and I'm glad that didn't happen. But there's still time. I mean, we could do it. So I didn't like those two. I don't know. Obviously, the clones were the one clone lady who talked at the beginning. And he said so there was something missing from her, and there's no heart there. I guess, you know, there's feelings, right? I mean, I'm all for Vulcans, but not for this. My favorite character, though, is the sun. I love the sun. I love what it was, you know, trying to do to these characters that I didn't care about. It just, unfortunately, it couldn't wipe out the clones, but if they clone themselves, you know, there might be, like, weaknesses discovered. You know, kind of how, like, in Star Wars, where, you know, the clones became erratic, and I think the Emperor had to clone himself multiple times because the body didn't take the evilness and things like that. I don't know. So maybe the sun can find a way to make sure we don't have a sequel. But yeah, I like the sun. In fact, I was out walking today and listening to this movie, and the sun was shining on me, and I just thought you're my favorite character of this whole film. W5BLT.
Yeah, Mr. Sun, everyone's favorite. You know, during the annual Christmas party for the DARC, we watched Mr. Sun from the 1955, I think. Yeah, he deserved his own series, but at least he got honorable mention. Okay, next up here's Sean, KB9SOK. Sean, here's a question to you. Your favorite characters, what you think of the acting, you know, all that jazz from KE5 ICX.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Well, I agree with Bill. I thought the acting was fine, and the actors did a good job. Unfortunately, it's just the story was just written that depressing. Obviously, our main character that was super depressed, and from the dialogue in the movie, it sounds like he's always been super depressed, but you find out that he's not been taking his happy pills apparently for years. You know, and that has some effect on him, and he pretty much wants to blame everything but himself for why he's depressed. You know, he blames it on, you know, not being able to go out in the sun, even though he goes to work every day in his radiation suit. Yes, the sun's a good thing, but apparently you can go out at night, so you can still go out and get fresh air, apparently. So, you know, it seems to be his main depression. But yeah, he just wasn't a likable character at all. There was nothing really nice about him. He wasn't nice to his wife. He wasn't nice to his kids. He wasn't nice to pretty much, he was rude to everybody. Just not a likable guy. The wife wasn't much better. She wasn't particularly nice either. You know, her whole thing seems to stem from her catching him with online with the virtual girlfriend, which is understandable why she'd be upset. But apparently from that point on, she hated him and wanted to do everything she could to destroy him, including doing a virtual, you know, virtually killing him so he had to become a whole new person, and then she could live with his clone because she could customize his clone and make changes to him to make him more like what she really wanted. So that, to me, that's not much different than creating a virtual girlfriend. Essentially, she was creating a virtual husband. So, yeah, these two people were not likable. You know, then we had the girlfriend that was brought to life by the scientist, which that might be the funniest part of the whole movie. Once she becomes alive and shows up at his place, she basically tells him she wants nothing to do with him because now she has free will and she wants to see what else is out there. So his dream comes true and she wants nothing to do with it. So that was actually kind of humorous. That one might be my favorite part of the whole movie. And then, yeah, the scientist was fine, I guess. You know, he was supposed to be a little bit off his rocker, but, you know, he got in trouble for turning his virtual girlfriend into a real person and using government resources to do it. That's why he lost his job, so that's pretty much his story. Yeah, the kids were fine. We obviously only seen them for a couple of minutes. So, yeah, that's pretty much it with these characters. Just not a lot of likable people. You know, the clone of him at the end and the clone of his wife at the end seemed to be way more likable than the originals. So, there you go. Anyway, that's all I got on characters. Back to net. KB9SOK.
So, okay, well, we'll move on to Virginia, NV5F. And Virginia, I'm going to give you a unique question. Since you didn't see the film, I'm going to give you a tough one. What did you think of Dr. Kaminsky's acting in 2001: A Space Odyssey? This should be pretty good. From KE5 ICX.
Okay, I'm trying to process this question. Dr. Kaminsky. There was a Dr. Orlov who was the character of the doctor in the movie. Is that who you're asking about?
No. I'm double checking to make sure because he had a very minor role in the movie. Oh, I can't find him. Maybe that wasn't his name. I thought it was one of the Frozen Doctors. I thought that was Kaminsky. There were three of them, you know.
Dr. In 2001?
Can you name the three doctors?
Oh, at first I thought you said 2010, so that's why I was confused. Hunter, Kimball, and Kaminsky.
Actually, like Kaminsky, didn't you?
I liked Dr. Hunter because he had to do a really good performance so that Dave Bowen could draw him.
Yeah, when you're the subject of pen and ink, you have to sit perfectly still.
But yes, I thought Kaminsky's performance was really good, especially during the scene where Hal was shutting off all the life support in V5F.
Boy, and I thought you would glob onto that one right away. I thought I knew the guy's name, Kaminsky. I saw the name tag in my head, and I thought, that's got to be it. And I saw his head, too. Okay, all right, go back to sleep. Next up is the last round, or whatever we want it to be, which is basically all things having to do with this movie. So if you want to unload on this film, we can discuss the music, of which I don't think there was any music in it. I can't recall, except maybe at the very beginning, some weird stuff. You can talk about the special effects or not so special effects, like all the little lights all over the floors and ceilings. That was really interesting. Or the scenes with him driving around town with his hazmat suit and Mercedes. Right about. Or what else you want to talk about? I'll leave it to you. Your choices are your choices. Let me not interfere. We'll start with Bill, N5BV. Bill, have you finished the movie yet, or have you fallen asleep like the rest of us did? See, I think that Bill was intently watching the movie, or he went into La La Land. I'll come back to him in a minute. I'll go to the other Bill, W5FC. The other Bill, what do you think? Characterization? Is it there? Last chance to make the film.
Okay. Hopefully I'm making our theater too, because there's been some static. Okay, I think it's okay here. Well, Tom, you missed the guy, the clone, remember? He was playing the guitar. And then I think they kind of did that same song there at the end. I made my joke about KTK's in top 40. And, you know, I think I'm surprised that they didn't get a hit from that song. I think that was the only thing that I really recall was the clone played the guitar with a happy little song, and then at the end they had the band playing, I think, the same tune or similar. And that was about it as far as music that I can recall. Yeah, what a wild film. You know, you forget when all that stuff came out, you know, when COVID first came out, maybe that's what they were trying to do with the sun and everybody being afraid to go out and being on virtual, because I do remember we were all doing, you know, Zoom Teams and different things like that, and some of us who were going out, people thought were, you know, crazy. But yeah, it was an interesting time there. It kind of reminds me of that other film that we saw. Now I can't think of the name of it, where they had the one guy that was just talking to everybody on the cell phone and traveling around. You know, there's just, unfortunately, about this movie, nobody redeemed themselves that you know, and I think that's what was hard about it. If the clones were redeeming, we didn't really kind of get a glimpse of that until, you know, the end of the movie, the one line that, you know, they basically spoke to each other, and starting with their kids. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a weird movie all the way around. But yeah, they did have the guy playing the guitar, and then at the end they had this song. But he may have been sleeping. And that's probably a good thing. 45 guilty. Back to next draw.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Appreciate the comments. And yeah, I think it was Aliens in L.A. or something. He was selling alien technology, and we never saw anybody because, yeah, it was filmed during COVID, so nobody could actually, you know, be in the film. So they just made it a phone thing. Whatever. I completely forgot about that movie. Now it came back to me like a post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay, let me go back to N5BB. Bill, are you back, or are you watching with rapt attention the final few minutes of the film? Or you just fell asleep? We're just talking whatever you want to talk about. Talk trash stuff, movies, or your final impression, because you're the one closest to the source right now from K85, I did.
Oh, perfect timing, Tom. This is Inside BB. The credits are playing, so I just saw it to the bitter end, and I want to agree with you. Watching the final 20 minutes didn't make it any better. And again, I was slightly confused. I think that the original Adam Bird killed the clone, but right at the end of the movie, with his clones, he's saying, "Oh, we could be a family of clones." So you're trying to fool her to thinking he's the clone? I don't know. Again, my rational brain is thinking, how in the world could they make this clone thing so rapidly? That makes no sense. And I didn't understand the little chip and getting all the memories. And the little chip is sitting there on the table. Isn't it supposed to be implanted in your body? I don't know. There's some things there that they thought you would catch, and I missed them, I guess. I don't know. I think they had some fancy ideas, but it all kind of got muddled up. I think they were trying to do too much in this movie, and they should have just focused on one thing. Like they were talking about virtual reality and all that kind of stuff, and they were talking about this incredibly bright sun where people couldn't go outside, had to be in hazard mad suits, and they were talking about lithium X, whatever that was exactly, some kind of medication, and then they were talking about the process of generating clones when somebody died. And I think they tried to put too much in one movie, making it confusing. If they had just like stuck to one of those things and developed it further and not muddied the water with so many things, then it would have been more straightforward. The production values were fine. I'm not going to complain about them. Although I don't understand why the gun was hanging around so much. Why did he keep picking up the gun? And then why did he use it? I don't know. And how did he get the gun from the scientist? I didn't understand that. I missed that. If it flipped by without me seeing it, I don't know. It's like he was talking to the guy, and then suddenly the guy's gone. Was he really talking to that guy, or was he imagining that? I don't know. I did not understand some of that. It may be that the screenplay was very, very muddled. My guess is that somewhere in some version of the screenplay, all these things were carefully explained and laid out, and they got to make the movie. And they say, well, we've got to cut out half an hour because it can't be that long, and we don't have enough money to make it. So we'll just whack out all of that and put these other pieces in there and not explain a lot of this stuff clearly. So anyway, at the end, I don't want to watch this movie again. I don't know if it was the worst movie we've seen. It was, to me, confusing. And not very satisfying. At the end of the movie, I don't know if I like any of the characters. I mean, I don't even like the kids. Why? They wanted to do nothing but play in their VR world. And I don't really like this future. And I didn't understand this. Well, of course, they're not explaining any of the science in it. This comparatively recent upgrade in the sun's output. Although it wasn't incredibly hot outside, it wasn't like everything was melting and burning up outside. It's just, it was like dangerous to be outside, like sunburn, like there's too much UV or something. And that made no sense. You put enough things that are senseless, and then you have people that are trying, that have some understanding of science and look at it, try to make, try to willingly accept, suspend their disbelief. After a while, it doesn't work. There's just too much junk in it. And I think that's what happened here. Anyway, I guess it was fun while it lasted, but glad it's over. N5BB. And I'm assuming that I am off the hook for next week, so I'm assuming we have no Afterglow movie next Saturday, because we have no Skynet and no Afterglow, and so everything will be deferred until 2 weeks. So the next net control, I guess, is Virginia on the second Saturday of January. Well, I'll see all you guys next week at the services and at dinner. In Virginia, if you need a ride, just let me know. This is N5BB. Back to you, Tom.
Bill, thanks for the comments. And yeah, well, you said it could be the worst movie. No, you keep forgetting about even worser movies like The Creeping Terror or my personal hateful film, Jetstream, both of which were terrible. I mean, being attacked by a carpet is not exactly what I would call an exciting film, although it was more exciting than this film. Okay, next up is Sean, KB9SOK. Sean, your final comments, whatever you'd like. You can trash the movie from any angle you feel your little heart desires. From KE5, ICX.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Well, yeah, the aesthetics were fine. Production values were fine. Audio was fine. No problems there. Yeah, the car scene was kind of ridiculous, which it now explains that being this was filmed in COVID, why he was able to drive down the major streets and there was no traffic because, well, during COVID there wasn't hardly any traffic. So I guess that worked out in their favor. The part that didn't make sense is he drive around a convertible out in the sun in his radiation suit but has the top down. Why? Because you can't feel the sun because you've got your radiation suit on. So you might as well at least close it up. Maybe you wouldn't have needed the radiation suit. I don't. That part made little no sense. My guess is that was just kind of once again to show you the dangers, I guess, of being outside, I suppose. But yeah, that didn't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, there ain't much else to say about this. Bill, to explain a little bit, as you pointed, there was way too much in this movie. Way too much concept. And yes, early on he was looking for a chip that could be implanted in your head that would replace VR. But the chip that he had on the table there was a different chip. That chip allowed you to store your memories and your likeness into a chip to allow you to enter the VR world permanently and live forever. And in the very end there, you can hear faintly his voice talking in the background as they zoom in on the chip, insinuating that he had done that at some point. And yes, the scientist, doctor, guy, whatever you want to call him, was real. And he did leave. He just forgot the gun, I believe, because they just showed him leaving at one point and saying he was going to go make the virtual girlfriend come to life for that guy. That was going to be his present. And then that girl brought that additional new chip that where you can store your memories and what have you in. So that way he could sell that to his company, and then that would be the next big thing. So that was supposed to be a gift, but the guy used it. So yeah, this was just a depressing movie at the end. Yes, the guy at the very end was definitely was the clone for sure. Let's see, how do I say this delicately and not get in trouble on the radio? One of the scenes there, Dan verified it when his cloned wife reached down low and verified that was a clone and not her husband. We'll just leave it at that. So it was definitely the clone. And then obviously, yeah, they were planning on killing their kids. So yeah, happy movie. So yeah, kind of a depressing movie. I agree, it's not the worst of all time. I agree with you, Tom. I think Jetstream is the worst movie we've ever watched. Beats Creeping Terror just by a notch, not by much, but it does beat it. So yeah, no, this is definitely one I won't be watching again. But as always, I've enjoyed the conversation and always looking forward to the next one. So yeah, KB9SOK, back to net.
Thank you, Sean. And yes, thank you for agreeing with me because it's really hard. It's pretty rock bottom. It's hard to find even things lower than that. Okay, Virginia, any final comments from you? NB5F from KE5 ICX.
Well, it sounds like everyone's in agreement on this movie. Tried to do too much, which I think is a common problem with science fiction movies now. Science fiction has become a respected genre, thanks in great part to our most favorite science fiction movie ever. or at least mine and Tom's. So it's just hard to make a science fiction movie, and you know, if you're trying to be artsy and filmy and all that, you're gonna probably err on the side of quoting too many things that you like or that inspire you, instead of just doing something with a good story and letting all that artsy stuff take care of itself, which I think is what happens too much. It's all about form and no content, and you know, it's just no fun, and it's unmemorable, which is the problem with a lot of movies. I've watched a couple of CG effects heavy movies in the last couple days, and they were fun and cute, and I enjoyed them while I watched them, but I really don't feel like there's anything that makes me want to see them again, and they're not going to be, things that I'll remember. They won't really stick with me. Let's see, that's probably about it for me. And Bill, N5BB, to your comments, yes, I would appreciate transportation to the stuff next weekend, and I will keep in mind that I am the next Skynet net control in a couple of weeks. So thanks for that, and everybody have a good evening. Back to net in V5F.
And I have nothing to add really to the film since I fell asleep. That tells you everything about the film that I found interesting, is when I fall asleep into a deep sleep, wake up, and then fall back into deep sleep again. That tells you how impressed I am with the film. I like the key to this was, to me, thanks to your comments, is there was too much stuff in it, in the sense that there were too many different world-building aspects to it, all competing for attention. I think that pretty much summed it up, which left everybody in a confused slumber, myself especially. That's probably what the problem was. Somebody mentioned, I think it was BLT, that where was I going? Where they said that this might have made a good series. Yeah, if you have multiple topics, multiple things going on, it might have made a good series in that sense, although I think they need to do something about the claustrophobia part. That's the problem with dystopian films anyway, is they're inherently depressing. Unless, of course, you're making the Mad Max films, in which case you make all the characters so fascinating and the action so over the top. Now, I know everybody doesn't agree on that, but the vast majority of those films are very successful and very popular because of the way they handle the action, yes, but the characters are really very colorful and fun, and they have some humor to them too, which is pretty good. But that's neat. Okay, for next week, or for 2 weeks, I don't have anything planned yet. I'm going to take a look and see. If you've got a suggestion, you can tell me right now, and we'll put it on. If you need a reprise and want to do a really good, famous film, we can do that. We've seen most of them, but if there's something there that you would like to do again, by all means mention it, and we'll do it again. It's a lot of fun. The group moves in different dynamics because people opt in and opt out and show up and go away and all that stuff, and that's perfectly fine. That also changes the tenor of the conversation when we do review the movies. So even though we've seen them before, they're worth repeating. There's a whole bunch of them out there like that are really good films, so just let me know. So if anybody's got anything, I'll listen to you now. If you got something, otherwise just send me an email. I'll take a look around and see if I can find something that we can give ourselves a couple of weeks to see, which is perfectly fine. And that's it from me. I want to thank everybody for participating this evening. It was a lot of fun. And I am starting to say, I have to admit, I'm getting tired. I did get my nap today, and I got my nap last night, but I'm getting tired. So everybody have a good week. I will see a lot of you on Saturday. I look forward to that. Not for the reason, but because I will be in town. Good night, everyone. This is KE5ICX. I'm clear.